Hi, welcome to the Whitey White Guy Show. Oh my god. Hi, welcome to the Whitey White Guy Show. I'm Whitey, and today I'm going to review the movie Blade. See you playing back there. This is something I've been aware of for a long time. I was at a buddy's house years ago, and he was playing the second one. And I wasn't interested. I've caught bits and pieces of it over the I don't think I've actually seen Blade. I think I've seen a couple clips on YouTube. And I was only interested because of Kenny Johnson, I think his name is in this one, who went on to be in a bunch of shit. This is his first movie. He's that guy right there in the hat. And I was looking up his IMDb, and then I was like, oh, he's in Blade? Who is he in Blade? I gotta go see this. And then Stephen Dorph. I'm a big fan of Stephen Dorph, Donnell Logue, who play the bad guys, the two primary bad guys in this film. So I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. And while it wasn't as bad as I assumed it was in the Blade films, like most films, the sequels get pretty bad. I haven't seen them all. I've only seen chunks, but I've just never been intrigued by the premise. One man wrecking machine. This time he's like a half vampire. So the story goes, Blade, who was born in 1967, his mom was bit by a vampire. So when he was born, he's like half vampire or something. They never really quite explain it that well, but they just say that it's mentioned. Oh, I'm getting pop up. It's mentioned that he has somehow his genes mutated or something, so he has all the strengths of a vampire, but none of the weaknesses. And then he gets pseudo adopted at 13 by a guy named Wheeler, played by Chris Christopherson, who's like the crusty old white dude, he's just kind of there. And he makes the weapons that Blade uses to kill vampires. And then there's a doctor lady who it's kind of implied is his sister, I think. I don't know. They threw some stuff at you they really didn't go into detail about. So she gets adopted, brought on board by Blade and Wheeler to go kill the vampires, and because she's a doctor, she's able to cure herself. She gets bit, but she hasn't fully turned, and I'm pretty sure she cures herself at one point of being a vampire, or hopefully does something. And then you have Stephen Dorff, who plays a guy named Frost, and Frost is trying to bring about La Mamba or somebody, La Magra. Again, they really don't explain a whole lot. They like give you little bits and pieces as the story goes along, but they don't really clear up anything. So Stephen Dorff is basically who's half vampire, half human being, and then there's like a CEO and board of the Vampire Empire. And then Stephen Dorff ends up killing those guys and trying to go through this ritual to bring back La Magra, which is basically, instead of, at first you think there's like some ancient creature that's going to come back, but it turns out he's trying to turn himself into a super vampire and take over the world. And Blade stops him, kills all the bad guys, and gets the girl at the end, kind of. Even though, again, I think they're supposed to be siblings. I don't know. Ace is. I don't know if that's the director's cut I downloaded there, but god damn, was this a long movie. And like you see here, the biggest problem with Blade, the story's fairly interesting enough. The film's actually well directed. I thought it was pretty good. Just little camera angle choices. I'm getting some kind of cranky ass pop up. So it didn't look bad. It was a good looking film. Performances are solid enough. Stephen Dorff who plays Frost, plays kind of an interesting character, different take. So the CEO and the board of the Vampire Empire are like a little bit more conventional, crusty old white guy vampires, I guess. Even though there's some people of color in there, but Stephen Dorff is like the young, hip, new generation, and he's sick of being throttled by the ways of the old timers. So he wants to again become on Magra and take over the world. Okay. And that's your movie. And then Blade kills everything that moves, like you see behind me. And then the good guys win. And that's the problem with this film is that you know that from word go. No matter what they throw in front of Blade, he's going to win. And so there's just zero tension in anything. Some cool style choices in the film. If you're the type of guy who likes the one-man wrecking machine films like this, and he just goes through a whole bunch of people like hot knife through butter, this is the movie for you because it's really just a bunch of window dressing for an opportunity for him to slice up different people and use different weapons to kill people. And the bad guys, one of the flaws here, the bad guys pose no realistic threat to Blade as much as they try to make it such. And then the way at the end of the film that Blade kills Stephen Dorff's character, Frost, they barely kind of introduce that briefly and shows a serum into him, and they struggle for a few minutes, go well red and bubbly, and explode, Nate. And Frost just takes a bunch more than one. So it's kind of like, don't care. And then I hate to. This probably came out in the late 90s. I hate to jump on something 20 something years later because the technology just wasn't there. So for a lot of these practical effects, the film looks fine. There's my guy. I like that actor. It's why I got on board. Um, but some of the effects just didn't look too good. I didn't see it back in, call it 1999, 2000. Maybe, and it's happened before where I watched a movie 20 years ago and thought, hey, this looks pretty good. And then I watched it again and go, wow, that looked awful. Turn off notifications. There we go. So, but the CG that they had just wasn't there. The technology wasn't there yet, or the whatever company they hired to do it wasn't good at it. Something. So the practical effects, like you're seeing here, they look fine. Performances were fair enough. Um, fairly atypical route. You got Stephen Dorff, who again is Frost. He's your primary bad guy. And then his henchman is Donald Logue, who plays somebody, Quinn. And there was a little bit of like, there 3 or 5 times, the whole attitude of Stephen Dorff towards Donald Logue's character, Quinn, was that dude's going to kill the other dude. The main bad villain is going to kill the guy. He was annoyed by him the whole time. And he didn't. Blade got him. And real quick. I was like, okay. So that was a nice touch. That was a little. It looked like they were going left, and then they went right. It's like okay, but this is a very you know it's going to happen before 10 minutes before it happens, and when it does, you're like, oh, thank God, we finally got there. So I don't know. Had I never heard of this, I wouldn't dislike it as much. I don't hate this movie. I can't say that. There's some, um, I'm an actors guy. I like some of the actors, but neither do I like this film. It's pretty, and it's a popular film. It wasn't, I don't know, E.T. or something, but to my knowledge, it did well and has its fan base for sure. Um, but Wesley Snipes just annoyed the crap out of me in this movie. He was just too cool for school, and then the few vulnerable moments that he had, you're like, he's gonna be fine. Blade will find a way. And that's like a downside to these films. So like if you 90-some percent, 95, 98% of films, the good guys win, the good guy gets the girl, the bad guy dies. You know it's going to happen. But when you put the good guy in a tough spot, you go, I know he's going to get out of this. Damn, how does he get out of this? That's good storytelling. Then it's like, I know he's going to get out of this, and I don't give a shit how he gets out of this. And that's what we have back here. You know the bad guy's got it coming. You know they're going to lose. Blade's going to win. He's going to find a way. She's going to be fine. The old crusty white dude is fucked. And only because I know he's in the sequels, they angle it as though Chris Christopherson's character dies or kills himself effectively. You know he's going to show up in the sequels. Just because I've seen parts of him, he's in them. So it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Some of the story elements were kind of intriguing, but that plaque of wood back there, I don't know what happened to Wesley Snipes, man. White Men Can't Jump. He's been in a slew of movies where he gave a really good performance. This was not it. And he's supposed to be stoic. He's supposed to be too cool. All these things, but it's just like, you know he's gonna be fine. You know he's gonna prevail. It's not that movie. It's not a movie that throws a real twist at you, or you walk away thinking about the nature of man or something. He's cool as shit. He's the cool black guy. He's gonna kill the chumpy white dudes, and that's the flaw. It's like you got to make him too cool, and you got to make everybody else a bunch of chumps, and the tension's gone. You know, whereas if you had a legitimately threatening enemy to fight, there'd be some, maybe he doesn't get out of this. Holy crap. The best example ever of how to do that is Training Day. When those Mexican dudes are dragging Ethan Hawke into the bathroom to blow him away with the shotgun, I was watching that going, there's no way he gets out of this. How's he getting out of this? They're going to kill Ethan Hawke. And there was runtime left. I'm like, I know they don't, but still, how's he possibly getting out of this? That's how you do that. This shit is just, the wins came cheap. And when you're just hot knifing through butter through everybody, it's like, it's just not for me. So, to be fair to the Blade movies, I'm not a one-man wrecking machine movie. Whether it's Schwarzenegger doing it with Commando, or like a Bruce Willis and Die Hard, Jean-Claude Van Damme, they know how to do it. There has to be some vulnerability to the character. You have to think, this guy can get his ass kicked. And with Blade, it's like, he's going to win. He's going to be fine. I'm waiting for it to be over now. Stephen Dorff gave a decent performance. Donald Logue was really annoying, but that's what they paid him to do. He's a tremendous actor. He's done a great job on a whole slew of stuff. Stephen Dorff as well. Outside of Donald Logue, Stephen Dorff, Wesley Snipes, and Chris Christopherson, and then I think it's Kenny Jackson is his name. It has a small role in the beginning. They've all gone on to do great stuff. But Wesley Snipes he was too. It was the whole beginning, the good guys be like, so he's like, so he's, he's white, he's a black guy, so he's like, it's like, are we doing that? So, I don't know. They did a fair job styling this up. It looks a good looking film. Mark Isham did the score. Didn't stand out here. Not Mark's best work, but it's fine. Performances were good for what they were supposed to be. Again, I'm not. Wesley Snipes is he's got so much energy and there's so much nuance to him in the right role. And so this was so block of wood. It's just like, he could have given him something, some human traits, some emotion to display, and they didn't. So anyway, if you like this movie, good for you. I didn't hate it, and that's the most diplomatic it can be about it. I didn't like it though either. I wouldn't watch it if I wasn't reviewing it. I wouldn't have watched it. Chris Christopherson there. Alright. So anyway, played. Not my cup of tea. Not the worst thing in the world. I've got 2 and 3 on that computer back there. I'll check them out. I've seen parts of the second one. And I don't even know if there's like a 4 or 8 or 73. So I'll check it out and get you what I think. But I tell you right now, they're pretty shit looking. So anyway, cheers, yo. See you on the next video.